Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Rao coming to serve you and engage a conversation with you. And if any questions, try to answer to the best of my ability and know-how, and spend some time with friends and uh, followers and whatever you call them. We are just friends for me. And whoever has a question, I'm game to engage them in a discussion, conversation, or exchange of information, or um, really see where the wisdom grows in those topics. I hope we are all doing well this Thursday morning. Um, I'm doing very well. I was up early, and then I did some spiritual practices, and then I kind of went back to sleep again. And then I woke up and visited my friend Martin John on the Wisdom app and engaged in a conversation with him. Very happy that he's following the Tao. Uh, that is the Chinese equivalent of Brahman in India, where they say the whole uh, earth and everything, the universe, not just the earth, created by this force, like they described in Star Wars. By the way, Star Wars is based on those ancient Indian philosophies that we kind of really understood, and uh, ancients lived with that. They didn't say they're just the body, but they found out, they discovered the truth that there's an underlying substratum of life energy, and that is really us, and everything else is like a body and mind are our instruments. So they had three principles. First one is to discover who we are, and the second one is to, once we discovered that our substratum underlying life force, our consciousness, our awareness, our self, our power, our God, whatever you name it, that is a fundamental thing that drives us uh, and the world around. And once you realize you are that, they call it tatvamasi. I am that. That is equivalent to the divine force that is really creating and maintaining and destroying this world, all of that, right? Once you discover that, then you use your instruments of body and mind, for the welfare of others and the world. And there is no ego. These are the three principles they said. But if your ego is identified with the consciousness, then you become a separate individual and you become the jiva. And that's the term that they used in Sanskrit. It's like a, or like a small ego, that is the I, small I. But you got to identify with the bigger I, that is the underlying consciousness being, right? So there are so many practices, so many things have come. But the essential thing is, if you use your mind as instrument, then suppose you are taking a task, you are doing a job or a whatever, you may have to pay attention in the beginning of what is the each step is, right? And then as you are doing the job after you trained, then you may allow the mind to interfere with unnecessary thought. Then you lose your attention and you lose your flow state, and thereby really having the enjoyment of doing something. So that's all that is there to it. The movement of thought, when the mind is not used as instrument but allowed it to dominate you, then you lose the flow and all the interfering thoughts will come. So these three principles, pay attention, and I am somebody who is always trying to get back into that all the time, right? So our mind may pull us back into being an agent, like I'm doing some service as a physician, as a yoga practitioner, as somebody who learned some skills to deal with the modern stresses of excessive thinking, lack of sleep, and all that, right? So I'm kind of revisiting that again and again so that I understand what they're talking about, but also really seeing my attention is in that or not. Once it is there, I don't have the movement of thought, and that is the blissfulness I'm talking about. Quiet mind, quietness, silence, and from that you can operate. Suppose I learned the driving in the initial phases, I had to learn the driving by each step. But now I'm driving, what I'm doing, I am kind of automatically knowing what the steps are. But I have the potential to let my thought go all over versus I can be attentive to every new thing I see on the road and be aware of it. So in awareness, in attention, I'm driving. Then I'm more aware. I have less chance of making a accident and all that, right? I can see a situation right away and then can react also. Whereas if you allow the thought to go vagabond, that's what we do. That is the modern thing is reading too much or bringing all the concepts into your mind and we act concepts of mind rather than in awareness. You are there, you are more, and also you don't have the chat, you don't have the restlessness of the mind, right? So that is really being in yoga and doing things. That means you are really realizing your jiva is your individual I that should mesh with the universal I. And once you are that in yoga, then your mind and body becomes your instruments, and then you can use them in awareness. Okay, so I'm a physician, but a different physician, I hope, because when I was seeing the patients and I doing all that, what it is I want to know the root of the disease, root of the illness. Is there a lifestyle that is doing that to them because they were given out these lifestyles, and then we are adopting them without thinking. For example, you are making dishes like an Indian home, they make a lot of dishes that are rich in carbohydrate. And if you eat them, they're very delicious. But if you eat them all the time, you are bound to have diabetes. That's why in my home state in Andhra Pradesh, for example, the custom diet is the lot of rice and a little bit of curries and all that, right? So if you eat that rice, your stomach size will increase, and then you always want that kind of rice, right? That kind of uh, heavy food in your stomach, and also if you are not really walking, if you are not really exercising, you're sitting down working, you are bound to have high blood sugar, and eventually it will lead to burning of the pancreas, so the beta cells cannot produce enough insulin, and also you are making your muscle tone go down by resting, right? Then what happens? You're going to be having diabetes. So what I want to do as a physician is, I just don't want to treat his symptoms. I want to go to the root of whatever whatever cause of the illness, and then see whether I can change something. It's not that we can change all the time. There may be genetically based things, and there may be immune based diseases. There may be some problem with the constitutional makeup that you inherit from your parents. So you cannot do everything just like that. But what you can do is you can go for each illness, try to find out something like a root of the illness, and that is what it is. And then when I go and identify myself as the being, and I'm not exhibiting the dividing factors among us, I'm not identifying by the gender, by the nationality, by the whatever identification we employ, social status, economic status, or sexual orientation status. So many ways we divide human beings, and then we lament why the wars are happening. We allow the egos to go up, and that ego can be individual and also individual sovereign nation too. So perpetual wars, perpetual violence, why it is going, that is the underlying factors too. So if you take it that way, being in the being and identifying everybody in the same energy, and we're all one tribe, and you won't be so destructive to other people without knowing. So by identifying, I belong to this, we can contribute to the division. That's what I very much learned very early in this country. When I came in the early 80s, I was exposed to J. Krishnamurti. And for those who know him, fine. For those who do not know him, he is a uh, that said, I don't belong to any country. I am a human being, and why do I have to identify with anything and divide myself? So that kind of person influenced me to really be a world citizen, to be a citizen on this world rather than belonging to a certain country. I may like the culture of United States. I may like the culture of India. I may want to learn something. That is fine. But why do I have to identify myself so that I'm dividing myself from other people? So that's the fundamental root of that. And then when I do the things, what it is once I'm in that energy which I am, and I own the body and the mind, if I exercise, if I do yoga, if I do work, everything, that is all to help others or give reverence to the that is really within us, that is guiding us to do things, right? That kind of thing. So people have to really identify who they are from the truth, but not by the authorities that tell you the truth. This is what you follow. If you do that, then you're going to subject yourself to manipulation and also influence, and then you don't follow your own conscience, right? So follow the truth, find out the truth by yourself. Don't follow the authority of truth. That's saying that we know it, we tell you, you do it. That's something I don't want to do, right? And once you find who you are in truth, the next thing what you do is you use your instruments, your body, your mind. They will be your instruments, and then you can use them. And you can keep the body very well, because for that you cannot have the life, you cannot have the quality of life you want, you cannot have the energy that we want to do this. That's why the whole lot of meaning when you maintain body like that. That's the body is my instrument. I need to maintain that so that I can go further, right? Then what happens? Once you are realize who you are and involved in service of others and the world, and then you want to make sure you don't succumb into the feeling of ego, like I am doing this job, I am the one who is great, I am the one who has all these abilities. That will go away. Otherwise your consciousness will merge with ego, and that they call in Sanskrit jiva. Okay, so from jiva to Paramatma, but not this is where Paramatma is already in you, so you don't have to identify with the ego, and then you are identified with that ultimate consciousness or divinity. That is called Tat Mamasi. That's what they said. I am that. Okay, so there are practices, meditations, and all that to see that we are merged with that. That's what I do in my yoga practice too. So, as a physician, I wanted to help people to find identity. That's the difference in my practice. As a yoga practitioner, I want to go to true yoga, whereby our mind and body are witnessed from within, and then we can manage all the problems of the body and all the problems of the mind by not allowing the thought play havoc with us. Okay, and also trying to contribute to the social causes by really not dividing myself from others, really knowing we are all in one energy, we are all in one energy, that is the physical physics also is talked about, but the ancients talked about that we are all one. Okay, there is only one energy. Once you identify that, you don't want to hurt other people because he is you, right? And those kind of point leads to less of violence in society, less of wars in the world, and less of misery for people. That's what I operate on, That's how I inner life is so calm and serene, and inner life is peaceful and happy. And that is the blissfulness I was talking about. There is no moment of thought, and thought is used for purposes, but when you are using that also, you can enhance it so that a human being can be enhanced in his work, in his relations, and uh, uh, in his activity towards the world and other people, other beings, and the nature too. Okay? So this is a very important thing to understand who we are. And as a matter of fact, the ancient said that is the purpose of human life. Okay, animals may live instinctively, but humans have an intelligence that has memory, that has imagination. But you want to use them for the enhancement, and also there is an underlying life force, underlying energy that we call Brahman or Tao, whatever. And once you establish in that, that has nothing to do with anything. That is only the one that makes all this manifest, but that's already underlying that, just being in that energy, and you use your body and mind as instruments, and you don't have the ego, and you are working for the other. This is the important principle. They said first realize who you are, then once established in that, then go and serve the world. Atma Mokshardam, realize yourself. Jagat Hitacha, just the entire world or people, just go and work for that. Then you don't have an agency. You try to do it and you let the nature really unfold. And this is where Ramana Maharshi said, watch, observe, whatever comes, just watch it. You know, the misery he said was because person thinks I am responsible for all this, I am the one who is doing it. But once he comes out that, and then he says that divinity working through you, make you do everything, and you will be doing stuff, you will be enhancing your skills and all that, you will be doing, but without selfish desire, without all that. That purifies your mind, that makes you more and see to perceive who you are. Okay, I'm not preaching, I'm telling you my experience of how that blissful thing evolved and how it is continuing. Because firmly established in Tao or Brahma, use the body and mind as instruments. Then what happens? You will be doing stuff, and then the divinity will direct you, will show you your purpose, your whatever you have to do in the. I think as a physician, if I can help somebody, not me, but the divine force is making me do it. That's it. Then I don't have to take credit or really blame and all that, because I try to do my best, right? And most of the time, if you are thinking of the other person's health, if you're thinking of the other person being well, things will come out very good. Okay, at least that is what I felt, with my patients. Appreciation, affection, and love, and all of that was because of that. Okay. So, as a yoga practitioner, so I was telling my friend Martin this morning when I was talking about, there was this yoga master. He was BK Sayenga. He's somebody I wish everybody knows about him, because he has several millions of followers in the United States. He was born in India, but he was as a teenager he had tuberculosis. This is way back in 1940s or 30s, something like that, right? At the time, tuberculosis did not have this medication that we have now. So most of the people, they usually call them consumables. That means the disease consuming their body, muscle and tendons and all that. They became very very emaciated, and then they were not able to breathe because the pulmonary tuberculosis, right? So they put them in sanatoriums where there plenty of air in the hills and all that. And some people, by their own resistance, fought the bug and then got it up. He happened to come to his sister's house. His sister had a husband who is a yoga master, Krishnamacharya. He's a great, great person. Okay, he went to Himalayas and learned it and brought it to customize to the local people. And he was hired by the then king of Mysore. So what the Mysore king did was he appointed him to train his soldiers. So he has to teach them not just sitting on meditation, but how to make their body and mind real strong and instruments so that they can fight the warrior. So he invented what's called vinyasa. That means one posture after posture. It's like a dance-like sequence, but at the same time exercising the body and very. He himself was a fantastic chef, all muscles sculpted, but he was inwardly oriented. He was devoted to the God and all that, right? But he wanted to teach other people this. So he taught B.K. Iyengar, Krishnamacharya, the teacher, taught his disciple B.K. Iyengar, and he overcame pulmonary tuberculosis and influenza, and then other problems too. By the way, he kind of became so good. Then his brother-in-law asked him to be the yoga teacher at some other distance places where people are calling. So he went and demonstrated them. And then he developed techniques that are very good for your physical body. Like you have a back pain, he knows the fundamental root and correct it. And then happened to be introduced by the Prime Minister of India at that time, Jawaharlal Nehru, to a violinist from Europe. I forgot his name, but he's a very famous at that time. And he came because he was carrying the violin in a certain way. He developed pain in certain parts of the spine and all that, and he was not able to perform very well with all that pain and all. So he introduced him to BKSR. Initially, he just wanted to see what is going on, and BK Sangar does station for him, and then he makes him do it, and he adjusts in such a way, uh, the posturing and all that, his pain is gone, and he became a better piano, not piano, the violin player, after that. So he said after that, I am a better violinist after because I got training, so I owe everything to him. He made me a better violinist. And then he was so impressed and so happy and grateful. He invited him to Europe and big answer go there. And then he had the races because of the identification with what the thing, and I divided into other people. That's where it comes, right? And he was treated with a lot of racism and all that. And then he became a yoga teacher, and he did 10,000 demonstrations. You know what he said? Every posture, every time I do it, I'm kind of doing namaskaram to namaste, or greeting to my, or offering my posture to my God, to my divinity that is within everybody and me too. So that kind of dedication, he was excellent. He had no problem of establishing himself in his being later on. And it has evolved. Initially, it was only Hatha Yoga, and then he understood the energy, then he understood the alignment, then he understood what is inside, how the uh, Atma comes into play, and all that. Okay, so he was a realized person as far as I'm concerned. He was an excellent, excellent person, really. But while you are doing, he did not say, I am the one who is doing it, my divinity is making it, but he was providing all of that. And through the life, till the life, he did the yoga, and 2 days before he died, he was doing yoga. you know so that was a great story. I think anybody is interested, you should look into that. So if you take any lives like that, I had illustration of this, what they are talking about. For example, take our modern example of Warren Buffett, whom I think represents a lot of this. I don't know whether he has this knowledge of inner self and all that, but what he does is he is excellent in creating wealth. but he has no desires of having a palatial home or anything. He has a very simple lifestyle, same car, same house for several years, and he has no entourage or anything. He goes travels by himself, but also he doesn't go anywhere. He just stays in Omaha, and then he does everything there. So he's a example of being in flow, creating wealth, but distributing it. What does he do? He gives all the money to Bill Gates Foundation, and then Gates Foundation does everything around the world. Okay, those kind of worldly affairs. If you look at it, you create wealth because that's a flow thing, that's a good thing that you can do, but then you distribute the wealth. You serve the world by distributing that. He is not caught up with this artificial goal of making so many millions of dollars, making all of that, and then lose the self, and then burn out, and then don't have any quality of life. Okay, so it is not the external riches; it is the internal riches that matter. And then once you find the internal rich, use your body and mind to serve the body, and don't develop ego. Those are the kind of things I kind of happened to talk this morning, and I thought I would bring this here too for everybody else to really see what I'm talking about. So lots of times we are educated and oriented towards the external riches. They have a role provided you are internally free. Other those will not fill the void that you will develop just doing things. Even thinking is also a doing. That's the thing you want to understand. So if you are just thinking, if you are just producing, if you have so many ideas and all that, all books, everything that you write without realizing who you are, then that is doing. Instead, with the doing, what is happening with the being? How are you identified? How are you feeling inside? Do you have peace? Do you have quiet? Do you have really warm feeling towards others and everything? The love, all those things are internal riches. How compassionate, how friendly, how happy you are, how peaceful you are, all those things matter, right? Once you identify that, then you will be the person really doing a lot of good stuff. At the same time, don't take credit for it, but you are happy, you are able to do other people, and your life is rich, in so many ways. That's what I wanted to share with you all. So anybody else wants to come up and talk to me, that's fine. Otherwise, will be closing this in a few minutes. Okay. Let's see who is on the. Okay, so many friends on the wisdom wants to come up. I welcome you. I don't want to tell you that, but you know how it is. And also on the Instagram and Clubhouse and other channels are on the Facebook. They are not able to join me after adjust that Restream. So this will be going on weekdays at 9 a.m. For those who don't know me, my name is Rao Kolusu. Actually, my long name is Hanumanta Rao Kolusu, but that is too long. That's why I put my middle name Rao as that, and everybody likes to call me like that, and it's short and easy for them, I believe. Even that also, a lot of people will say Rao. They say Rao or something, but that's okay. But then I correct them. That's no big deal. I don't identify with the name only. They just see who I am, and I do practice yoga every day, which is really fulfilling for me. But then in the yoga practice, I like to be here and now, and whatever I'm doing, I like to establish myself in that presence or in that being or in the consciousness in the morning. I recommend that you do that early in the morning, and then carry that like a perfume all through the day. And if you cannot do it all the day, you get lost in thought as you go to the work. You have to use your mind and all that. Don't bring in your ego and mind only, but establish yourself in the presence. You can come back to the presence, especially in this age of information era. A lot of information comes out our way, and it does leave impressions on our mind. It doesn't push us to be identified with so many isms, so many tendencies, so many things, right? So you want to be careful by revisiting this presence. If we are not in presence, I prefer to be in presence and do the other things. But if you're not, come back to it. Put a flower next to your computer, or put something that reminds you that visual cues, or do what's called present moment awareness breath. That means you breathe in and you feel your awareness within you, and you will be able to come back to your presence that you cultivated, or you try yourself, be here and now and do your work. Be in flow. Don't allow the interrupting thoughts and do the work. Okay, and do the work for the purpose of helping others. Not for the purpose of your own greed or desires and all. That's the key, right? And then you go home and unwind, and then before sleep, try to see the day in reverse order and eliminate all that you had in the daytime. And that way, you'll be happy to sleep well, and you have a quality of sleep in the morning. See, in this routine, there is no alcohol involved, there is no gossip involved, there is no just using work and then getting bored, you know. So you can have a very intense in the presence life that you are getting up and doing the yoga, or doing the work, or doing the sleep. It's like a very close to the nature what they used to do. At least somebody wants to come up here. Okay, Kimi, my friend Kimi is coming. I will say what she has to say. Hi, Kimi.
Hi, good morning. How are you today?
I am very good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I had a question for you about your yoga practice.
Yeah,
And do you, because I've never really, I do something called bar, which is, I don't know what the difference is, but it's a little bit different. I don't think it's so much focused on kind of the mental aspects
yeah,
of it.
yeah.
Um, how long have you been doing yoga, and when do you think the best time? Yeah, I know I've heard you talk about the morning, but when do you think the best time is to kind of to start that practice?
You can do in the morning to gain quick progress in your body and mind, but you can also do it in the evening when the body is not that stiff. It's much more easy to do yoga, you know so usually in the morning and the evening. But you know what, Kimi, I combine routines that can help you within your work pattern. Suppose you are a executive working in the office, sitting all the time, then I will devise program that will help you within your office work. Okay, I will increase your opportunity to walk or take a climb stairs, or if you are in the yoga in the chair, is what's called office yoga. I teach them that will take away the tensions that you are building otherwise by our wrong posture or wrong way of reaching out, doing the same thing again. Those kind of things, they develop this tension in the body. So, if you really seriously want to do yoga, you have to know where your body and mind are, and then take baby steps, and then increase that. Important thing is try to do it regularly. Once a week is not going to do. Body has to be trained every day. So that's why my class doesn't even skip the weekends. I do all week. And actually I look forward to it in the morning. When I go there, I really enjoy that because all my tension is gone. I feel more energetic, more alert, more in the present. So I'm raring to go to the work.
That's good good advice. And
Yeah.
do you think that yoga is good for people who have back issues?
Oh, yeah, very much so. There's a special routine I did several times because so many people come with that back pain. There are
Yeah,
5 or 6 asanas I show them, and if they can do that very well, one simple thing you can try is suppose you're standing in front of a wall, right? And like a 3 feet from that, right? Both your feet are firmly planted, and then place your hands like I'm showing in the Instagram, both hands completely stretched out with both palms are on the wall in front of you, and then bend down from the head and towards the front. Okay, and that itself stretches the spine, and you have almost immediate slight improvement at least. As you go on, the back is really lot of muscles there are kind of contracted and they're not stretched enough. You find the problem, you know. So
yeah.
I have
No,
done
that's
that. I've done that on Instagram and all that, but I have a wellness club in the morning. That's a subscription service that people come and join, and then I do every day with them, and then I do it on the Zoom because I want to correct them. I want to help them. I don't want to really lose it on the faster acquisition of results. So seeing them, I was able to correct them, and then they were able to progress faster.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
And what is when you say you have it on Instagram? You said.
No, no, Java. Instagram I used to
Oh,
do. I did it for several months. Then I was not happy because I was not interacting with them. I was just doing myself, and they are doing with me, and they are happy. But then I kind of put this Java Zoom sessions. They are going pretty well.
oh, good. Oh, that's wonderful. Well, good. Well, thank you for answering my questions. I hope you have a wonderful rest.
So if you want to join my webnet/register, the subscription service is there. I'll be happy to have you here. And then usually your goals are asked, and then your problems are asked, and then we devise programs so that will suit each person.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rao. Have a wonderful Thursday.
You too, Kim. Thanks for coming up. Okay.
Absolutely.
That was Kimi, my friend, and we do talk on issues in the Wisdom app. And I go up to her room and we participate in discourses. But mainly, wherever I am, my main thing comes from this. Be yourself. Yourself is being the being, and then go out, help the world, other people, and don't develop ego. you know and once you understand the problems of ego, and actually it is not you, gives you a lot of problems outside and inside. By the way, I have a course called transformation of ego based leadership to servant leadership. That's what I focus on lots of times, and that is really the wellness club. Somebody asked me, because I think TV maybe. Oh, I do in the morning and in the evening to suit my friends, and also they can call me like one of the friends from Canada. She told me that's too early for her, so we delayed. It used to be 6 o'clock a.m. in the morning. Now it is 7 a.m. in the morning, and also evening 6 to 7, whatever the time you choose. I'll be doing, because it's a pleasure for me to do the yoga, right? So some people, because of the time regions from India, people are different. Okay, that's much more comfortable for them in the evening. Here for me in the United States, for them it is morning. So it varies, and you can choose your time either in the morning and the evening, and you can talk to me about that, and then we can always adjust the routines for you. And also there are so much of help with my other videos I'm going to make now, short videos, and they will be also useful for people. Okay. So I am really enjoying yoga, and I'll be happy if I can share with as many friends as possible. I share with my wife and kids, and also I don't force them. I don't really make them do it just because I am telling them. I invite them to take advantage of that. I built a studio in my basement, and then it's a pleasure for me to go and do it. I look forward to it. So people joining me is much more um, happiness for me. So that is going on well. My day starts today morning. I got up at around 3, but I don't teach yoga at that time, but I do some spiritual practices and all that in the morning. And then I come to the yoga. Some people come 6, some people 7. It doesn't matter. I just do 1 hour. The rest of the hours I will directing them and supervising them. So that kind of thing. And also they will be able to understand the lifestyles and routines that they are having in their own life without being intrusive or telling them what to do. They discover for themselves how they are eating, how they are exercising, how they are thinking, how they are sleeping. All those things will be coming out, and then they can be adjusted slowly and according to who they are, what they are doing, what kind of profession they are, what kind of work they are, or the manual laborers to executives. There are things that you can do. And sports people too. In my practice, a lot of people come to me for sports physical, right? And that was the time I used to examine what is the regimen of physical enhancement and mental calming down and all that. And yoga fitted for a lot of them, even football players. We used to teach them how to be in the moment. They became better catchers, better throwers because they were more in the present. But yoga seems like two disciplines of some people. So you introduce them slowly, and as they become habitual, it becomes much more easy. So don't expect to do like a model or like an advanced yoga practitioner right away, but understand your body, understand your attitude, understand how your mind is. A lot of people cannot sit down for a while without any thoughts. So that's a very difficult for them. So we introduce them very very small things that they can do, even 30 seconds. If they can keep their mind calm, that will be excellent achievement in the beginning. Don't push them, don't have to do that. But then as you are doing a posture, as you are taking deep breath into the posture, and automatically the flow of thoughts will be cut down. So just doing it without worrying about the mind in the morning, just trying to be here and now, is a good exercise. So I incorporated a lot of features in there from basic to advanced, but then I don't push anybody. I let their bodies and mind grow into it, and that's when they can keep it up for a long time. A lot of people know these principles, but they don't have a routine that can help them to be overcoming their own habits. Okay, so you don't have to judge anybody. You just help them from the stage that they are to how much they can achieve. And then lots of times, as they practice every day, only one requirement I tell them is do it as many days as possible in the week. Don't do once a week. That is not going to help that much. But you can be active with other activities and then do yoga once a week. That's okay. But if you want yoga to be your transformative tool, it's better to even for 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day. If you do it daily, it's much better. And also, once you understand how you are sleeping, for example, once you understand what you are doing in your work, that is making these back pains and all those to go up in intensity because you are sitting for several hours a day, and also you never bother to flatten your abdomen because abdominal muscles should be, that is a core muscles, right? People who have core muscles strong, they have no back pain. But then people who don't know how to do the core muscles and let the abdomen sag, and that becomes a problem, right? So we teach all that. Mm. Okay, I think okay, a few more minutes I can stay, but after that 10 o'clock I have the meeting too. Anybody else wants to come up and talk about it? Anything, or you can hang up here. Otherwise, okay. All right, I will go and get preparation for my other room, and if anybody is there, I have the room, but otherwise I can spend some time to get ready for that with the documents and everything. Thank you, and I'll be seeing you again tomorrow morning. Bye.